In today's how-to video, I'm going to show you guys how to mix epoxy for doing all your fiberglass work. Now this is the basic stuff that you need to do anything from here on. This is mixing the basic epoxy. After you have it mixed, then you can add different fillers and different additives to give you different properties to what you're working with. But the most important part is mixing the epoxy well, and that's what we're going to go over today. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to work with West System. Now there's a whole bunch of different types of epoxies and different types of resins for fiberglass. This is the one I like using simply because it's the one I'm most familiar with. This is an epoxy. Now this is different from polyester and all those other types. This is the one I like using because it's the most resistant and the most forgiving, which makes it pretty good if you're just doing odd jobs from time to time. Now the most important part when you're using this product is to use the pumps that it comes with and just count. So you're going to do an equal number of resin pumps and an equal number of hardener pumps. You're going to notice that the resin uses a lot more volume each time than the hardener does. And I strongly believe it's about a 5-to-1 ratio of resin to hardener. But if you're using the pumps, you don't actually have to do any of the calculations because the pumps do it all for you. So all you have to do is do the same number of pumps from each bin. I like to do 3 pumps of each because I find it to be an easy volume to work with, and it's also easy to count and keep track. So just go all the way down to the bottom. It's 1. 2. 3. So now we have 3 pumps of the epoxy resin in this cup. Now we're going to do the same amount in hardener. Now an important note, the different hardeners have different colors to them. The slow is more clear, the fast is much more of an orange color. So if you're using the fast epoxy, you're going to notice that yours is looking a little different from mine, but it's still the same stuff. We have our 3 pumps of the epoxy resin. Now we're going to add 3 pumps of the epoxy hardener. 1, 2, and 3. Right now, it looks very clear and doesn't look like anything's going on. You need to mix it up, and as you mix it, you're going to see it's going to get really cloudy and murky, and then that means it's starting to mix but isn't mixed yet. You're going to keep mixing until it goes clear again. And there you have it. Now it's all clear and it's all mixed up and it's ready to use. So you simply apply it to your project and take it from there. Now the slow epoxy takes a long time to set up, which is why I like to use it for big projects because you have tons of working time. There's no rush at all. If you're doing the fast epoxy, your working time is going to be a couple minutes. And it's going to come out and it's going to look more like maple syrup molasses color. That's the color that it is. So use it and work quickly. Now the larger volume you make, the faster it's going to kick. And kicking is what they call when it starts to harden but isn't actually cured yet. It's just like no longer workable. So if you do a thicker volume or larger volume, it's going to be much more material, which is going to create more heat, and heat is what makes it set faster. So if you're working in a cold environment, you'll have a little more working time. If you're working in a really hot environment or in the sun, it's going to kick really fast. So you want to work in smaller quantities rather than large volumes, that way you get more working time. Now if it starts to kick on you, but you catch it early enough, you can actually smear it around the outside of your mixing bowl, kind of thin it out, it'll cool it off and slow down the reaction a little. But that's a sign that you're either working too slow or using epoxy hardener that's setting too fast. So in any of those cases, it'd be a good idea to switch to the slow kind. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends.
And if you'd like to follow our journey in real time on a map, receive postcards from our ports of call, and message us directly to the boat, you can go ahead and become a patron using the link in the description down below.